In this video, we're talking about how to jazz up your blues guitar solos. Something like this. Are you bored of the minor pentatonic scale? Have you got pretty much the most you can get out of it? And are you looking for something else, something a bit fresher to give you some more motivation to play? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down the easiest ways to incorporate a jazzier sound into your blues solos. And it's not actually as difficult as it sounds. And before we dive into it, I just want to say it's really great to be back. I've taken a few months off, and a few months is kind of putting it lightly, but I'm really thrilled to be back making videos, and I'm going to be keeping it up for the foreseeable future. So if you haven't already, like, subscribe, ring the bell to get notified when I upload, and let's dive into the lesson. So the two easiest ways to jazz up your blues guitar solos are by incorporating diminished and by incorporating 2-5-1s. Now, don't worry, if you do not know what those terms mean, you're not alone. I didn't know either, and I'm going to explain it briefly just so we're all kind of on the same page here. So, diminished. What is diminished? Diminished is basically just a function that enables you to bridge chords together. So, in your blues progression, if we take the key of A, as I did in the solo that I played at the start of this video, then your 1-4-5 in A would be A as your 1 chord. D7 would be your 4 chord, and E7 would be your 5 chord. Now, there are chords in between those that you can incorporate, and those are called diminished chords. So on the 4 chord, when you go to that D7, you can go D7, to an E flat diminished. And that enables you then to go back to the A. So you'd go, and the best thing of all is that even if the blues progression that you're playing over doesn't have that E flat diminished chord in it, you can still incorporate that sound into your guitar solos. So the best way to do that is to just do an arpeggio that basically outlines that diminished sound. And I did that in the solo at the start, and I'm just going to cut that clip in now so you can hear it. So basically all I did there is the first lick was basically outlining a D major scale, because we are in D here. So if you take the note in a D7 chord, and then play a D major scale over that, then a lot of those notes are going to be familiar because we are technically in the key of D when we're playing in that chord. So you can basically outline that D major chord using a lick like this. And then once you've played that 4, you can then throw in that E flat diminished. You can take it up a semitone and play something like this. One more time. So that diminished sound is something that would be considered jazzy. And even if the blues progression doesn't have a diminished chord in it, if you have that line in the back of your mind when you're playing over those changes, then throwing in a lick like that will just immediately make that blues solo sound way more sophisticated. Next we have a 2-5-1. Now you might have heard of a 2-5-1 before, maybe you haven't, but a 2-5-1 is something that is really common in jazz music. In a blues context, when you're playing a 12-bar blues, you would likely go up to the 5 chord, back to the 4 chord, and then back to the 1. And then do a turnaround like that. But really what you want to do, if you want to make your blues playing sound jazzier, is rather than going to that 5 chord, you want to replace that with a 2 and a 5. Now a 2 is basically referring to the 2nd degree in the scale of whatever key you're in. So if you know your major scale in A major, then you'll know that that 1, 4, 5 is based off of that scale. So your root is the 1, and that's A. Your 4 chord was D, and if we go up the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, then we get to D, and then the 5th is E. But what we're going to do here is we're going to replace that 5 with a 2, and it's going to be a 2 minor. So if we go on A, 1, 2, then we're going to be playing over a B minor. And it's going to be kind of like a B minor 7. So you're going to go B minor 7, then to the 5, and then to the 1. 2, 5, 1. Pretty straightforward. But what would you play over a 2, 5, 1? Well, the easiest thing to do is to picture that B minor 7 as, again, its own key for that chord. So we would be in B minor. So that's just a B minor pentatonic, but what would you play in the context of a solo? Well, in the solo I played at the start, I played this. And again, there wasn't a 2-5-1 turnaround in that particular progression. I just chose over that 5 chord to replace it with a 2-5-1. So you might want to play what I played over that solo, or you can break it down and play something like this. And this will help you kind of see what I played. So it's basically just a B minor pentatonic scale. That's straight out of B minor. Now we're back to the 5. And that's the 1. So 2-5-1s, really, really useful, and if you learn that little lick and have that kind of 2 minor pentatonic scale in your mind, and by 2 minor pentatonic I mean go to your 2nd in your original key and use the minor pentatonic of whatever note that is. So in A, it's B, B minor pentatonic. If you keep that in mind, you can't go far wrong, and it will really, really elevate your playing, and it'll give you some new places to go, and it'll take your ear in different directions, and that's part of the fun of playing guitar, right? As always guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this video. It's been really, really great to be back. Looking forward to making new videos in the coming weeks. So like I said, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Closing in on 1,000 subscribers, which is awesome. Super grateful to every single one of you. And I will see you all in the next video.